Hello and welcome to another lesson about Bluefort's license and subscription app embedded in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and supply chain, otherwise known as finance and operations. In this lesson we'll discuss product entitlements, and you can consider this lesson as a continuation of the last one because we'll show how you can link product entitlements to delivery schedules. However, keep in mind that the two functionalities can be used separately, so you can use the product entitlements functionality without delivery schedules and vice versa. So let's jump straight into the application. This is the finance and operations client. I'll browse over to subscription management cockpit, and I'll look for my Contoso patient who's subscribed to my health plan. And there he is. So I've created a subscription plan with one line with the medical weight loss basic plan, just like in the previous lesson. And like we saw in the previous lesson, the delivery schedule is automatically inherited from the release product. I've also created some entitlements here, basic visit entitlement, which is one visit with a frequency of 1 month, basic vaccine entitlement, which is one piece per 1 month, and the basic supplement entitlement. If I click new here, you can see the various options. When creating entitlements, you can do it per item group, per product category, where you would need also to select category hierarchy, and also to all products in the system for this legal entity. And please note that here we also set up a cadence, and thus as a continuation on the previous lesson, you can see that we have in total thus 3 cadences. We have one cadence which is for the billing, which we saw in many other lessons in the past. We have one cadence which is linked to the entitlement, which you can see here, and the other cadence is for the delivery schedules, which we saw in the previous lessons. In the previous lesson. And all these cadences are independent of each other and give you total and complete flexibility on what you would like to achieve. So I will now go ahead and publish this subscription plan and run the master process. And as you can see, as usual, of course, it generated the action, unfirmed action of type generate sales order invoice. And here in the firmed actions, you can see that it automatically generated a firmed action. So firmed directly to the firmed for the product entitlement. So the important learning point here is that the actions are directly firmed. The product entitlement actions. Okay, so now as you can see, in my delivery schedule, the 2 lines that were created are now zeroized. So if I go to the cell, to the totals, there is no charge whatsoever for our subscription customer for these products. Why? Because they are configured as entitlements, right? That makes sense. And actually what we're seeing here, apologies for not pointing that out earlier, is the entitlement which is still pending, which is linked to our weight supplement. So if we go to the historical tab, we have 2 fully consumed. You can see the category there, it's fully consumed product entitlement, and that is for the sales order we just saw, which has been zeroized. So no invoice amount on the customer account because the customer is paying for the subscription. But I added an extra product here in the entitlement, which was the basic supplement, which was not in my delivery schedule. So of course the system correctly did not allocate this to any sales order. It couldn't, of course, and of course it left it pending. And actually, like I said at the beginning of this lesson, the reason I configured it this way is because I want to show you that you are able to generate an action of type product entitlement and use it independently of a delivery schedule. So to demonstrate this, I will duplicate this tab here in my browser. I will move to the browse to the standard sales orders module for the sales ledger or account receivable, depending on the language you're using. So I go to all sales orders, I create a new order. I have to be careful, of course, that I'm using the same customer who subscribed to my medical weight loss plan. So here I'll choose this customer, I'll click OK, and I'll also have to be sure that it is a valid entitlement. So in this case my entitlement is specific to this item, so I have to be sure that I select the same item number here. Of course, if you had a different value type like all, any item number would suffice, or if it was an item group, any item in that group. If it was a category, any item in that category. And important here to note that the value is 1. So let's see what happens actually if the customer makes an order for 2. So the entitlement, like I said, is 1, but the customer orders 2 from us. So keep in mind that this is a standard sales order. It is not a subscription order. It's an order event triggered by the customer. What we can do at this point is we can use the apply subscription entitlement on the header, which will go through all the lines of this order and check if there is an entitlement action which is active based on these dates, date from and date to, and based on that it will apply the entitlement. You can also do it on a line by line level. Maybe you want to manually exclude some lines from entitlements. In that case you can do it on a line level like this, and you will get an "Are you sure" box. Well, and it seems in this case that it picked up multiple entitlements. That's because I've created a previous subscription plan here, and which also had entitlements, and it is saying here that it used these 2 actions to zeroize this order. So in that case it's action 2375 and action 2366. So let's see, so 2375 is that one, and historically it's 2366 there, which is actually from the previous plan, like I told you, which I already had configured before this lesson. So the total here is again 0, and there's the marking against the actions it used to zeroize this sales order. Please note, of course, that the actions that it will pick up always have to be of type product entitlement, because if it is not, then of course it will not be considered. And also the delivery dates for the line have to be within the date from and date to of the line, or else same logic, it won't be picked up. So as you can see, I've created this sales order manually. I've created a sales line, and it used the product entitlement which I had in the license and subscription app, and it zeroized the sales lines. And this shows that even for manually created sales orders, by using the maintain subscription, apply subscription entitlement buttons either on the header or on the line, these entitlements have been applied independently of a delivery schedule. So to recap, to summarize, product entitlements can be used independently of delivery schedules, but if you configure a delivery schedule like we saw in the previous lesson, delivery schedules will also have entitlements applied to them if applicable. The other way around, of course, is applicable, that if you have a delivery, you can have a delivery schedule without having any entitlement linked to it. So now the sales order has been zeroized, and the company can now go ahead with the usual procurement or logistical process to fulfill this order. Of course, once this sales order is invoiced, no money is charged to the customer, because you know that this is now part of the subscription. It's an entitlement which is part of the promise in the subscription. So that wraps up this lesson. I hoped you found it useful. I hope you appreciate the value this functionality delivers, especially with all the flexibility with the different cadences. Quick recap, there are 3 cadences which are available in the license and subscription app at the moment. One cadence is for the billing, which you've been seeing from the very first lessons in this course. Second cadence is delivery schedules, which you've been seeing since the last lesson. And the third cadence is for the entitlement, which you've learned about in this lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. As usual, if you have questions or feedback, feel free to reach out, and Bleed4 team is ready to assist you. Thank you very much. Keep tuned for more lessons.